better than an ice-cold coffee when the heat kicks in. Cold brew, it's okay, but Japanese-style flash brew? Incredible. It's faster, fresher, and it brings out way more flavour. You get all the bright acidity, floral notes, and sweetness of a great pour-over, just ice-cold. Today I'm showing you how to make it using a V60 with a few tweaks to get the absolute best extraction. But if you don't have one, you can adapt it to use any pour-over setup. Let's get into it. My name's Lizzie and I'm all about helping you make better coffee at home. If you want to learn more, then subscribe. So, why choose flash brew over cold brew? While cold brew can be delicious, it takes 12 to 24 hours to steep. It's smooth, but it loses some of the bright, complex notes that make specialty coffee special. Flash brew is brewed hot and then instantly chilled over ice, so you keep all those delicate aromatics while still getting it in an ice-cold, refreshing cup. And the best part? It's ready in minutes. For this recipe, we're going to be using a 1:15 ratio. For us, that means 20 grams of coffee, ground slightly finer than usual. I'll explain why in a second. 300 grams total water, 200 grams hot and 100 grams of ice, a carafe or a server to brew into, a kettle, preferably gooseneck for control, but it doesn't matter if you don't have one, a scale and a timer. Precision matters. If you don't have a V60, you can still use a Chemex, Kalita Wave, or any other pour-over method. Just adjust the ratios, depending on size and extraction time. I'll put the details down below. Normally for a V60, you'd use a medium grind, but here we're going slightly finer, closer to what you'd use for an AeroPress. Why, you might ask? Because we're using less hot water than usual. In a standard pour-over, all of the water passes through the coffee, but here part of our final brew volume comes from melted ice. That means we need to increase the surface area to extract enough flavour with the limited hot water that we're using. Too coarse, you'll get a weak under-extracted cup, and too fine, it'll over-extract and taste bitter. So aim for a grind just finer than your regular pour-over setting and adjust if needed. Today I'll be using the Burundi Long Miles Farm natural processed coffee, which has notes of apple, orange and cinnamon. It's going to be great for this. If you want to try this or some other delicious coffees, we have 20% off for you guys, so just use the code on the screen and the link in the description. Begin by rinsing your filter. So place the V60 filter in the dripper, rinse with hot water to remove any papery taste, and then discard the rinse water. Next, add the ice to the bottom of your carafe. Then add the coffee and bloom. So add 20 grams of ground coffee to your filter. Pour 40 grams of hot water over the grounds, let it sit for 45 seconds. This is the bloom. It releases CO2 and preps the coffee for even extraction. After the bloom, continue adding the remaining 160 grams of hot water in slow, controlled circles. Pour in pulses rather than dumping it all in at once, and this helps to extract more evenly. The total brew time should be around 2.5 to 3 minutes. Then swirl and serve. Once the coffee's finished brewing, give the carafe a gentle swirl. This helps mix in the melted ice for an even flavour. Then top up a glass with fresh ice and pour over. You should end up with a crisp, refreshing iced coffee, keeping all the complexity of those gorgeous single origin beans. If it tastes a little strong at first, let the ice melt for a minute. It'll balance out perfectly. If your brew is too weak, try grinding a little finer next time. If it's too bitter, grind a touch coarser or reduce the brew time. You can also experiment with different beans, so I found that light roasts shine with this method. And that's it, Japanese flash brew made easy. If you want to compare this to our cold brew recipe, click this video here. And we also made a pretty wacky recipe for a peanut butter iced coffee video just here. Let me know in the comments if you prefer cold brew or iced coffee. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.